Welcome back to our Hornets walk. Here we go again. Watford Football Club are looking for another new manager. 27 now in 14 years. Here we go again. Welcome. We're live this evening with Rio, Luke, and Aaron, reflecting on what's been a mad weekend for Watford. Losing to Swansea, losing the manager, and now we are transfer windows about to slam shut just as we are recording this. Hope you are well. Let's get straight into it then. Coming up this week, we're talking about, well, obviously, who next for Watford. Look at the bookies odds. Who do you want in the frame? Not that we're going to have any say in it, of course, but just a bit of fun. Why did Javi walk out? What's the rumours? We're also talking about transfer window. Sissoko's gone. Ooh, I'm sure lots of tears are going to be shed on that one. We're also talking about the worst ever manager for Watford, and we're doing our A to Z, which is up to the letter N this week. Great to have you back, you three. All right then, Luke, did you see that one coming?
No, not at all. It kind of was sort of caught us all by surprise, to be honest. I mean, it was an awkward time to do it at the end of a window. I don't know if it's just more of a sort of an FU that to the Pozzos for not backing him. I think the loss of Elaine was massive for us, and it seemed from the dressing room it was even worse than what we probably imagined. And it must have been something behind closed doors of Javi wanting players that he didn't get. And I think, I don't really sort of blame him, to be fair, if he's going to do that. But it's just frustrating as well that, we're now back to square one at such a crucial time for us in our season.
Yeah. Aaron, thanks for joining us in the middle of a car park there, but massively appreciate it. I mean, last week you were very much kind of, well, we're not really sure where we stand on him. You didn't really want him to go. Were you, after watching that Swansea game, were you not that bothered that he has left?
I'm still a bit disappointed, to be honest with you. Like I said last week, I thought if there was ever a guy that you're going to give a chance to turn it around, it would be Javi. And it is a bit disheartening to hear that the board obviously haven't really given him what he wanted. In terms of how it's all played out, like Luke just said, I didn't expect anything like that. I didn't even expect them to sack him for at least a few more weeks if he was going to continue. But the minute he made those comments in the press after, regards to having a conversation with Gino, well, we know how conversations with the owners go. So it was no surprise after that. I think as soon as he said that in the press conference, the writing was on the wall that, he was either going to be sacked or he was going to walk himself. And you know what? Credit to him for walking himself.
What about you, Rio?
Yeah,
Mixed
yeah.
emotions or not? You were quite
Um,
excited when he came back the first time, or
Yeah, I
this time.
was. There's actually a montage of Javi Garcia saying I did it my own way. Luke was in it saying, I feel maybe it was the right appointment, but to silence the fans. And that's what I was thinking, to be honest. And it was a weird one because obviously he was great for us the first time round, but they say never go back twice. And he didn't really play with wingers in his last time round, and we have abundance of them. But I think him resigning was more of a FU to the Potters and showing that you can't do promotion whilst penny pinching, which he thinks they are, because he wanted a striker, he wanted players who can play both sides. Whereas currently in the transfer window, I'd argue it's been a bit of a poor one. He wasn't a massive fan of the Bove signing because it's not a right here, right now signing, which Javi wanted. And then that Mafani, who we signed from City, is the same age as me. Like, who knows if he'll be up for men's football? Who else have we even signed? This Gokshula Chisi from, sounds like a potion, from Udinese, centre back. And there's Ezekwa, who he hasn't even played football all season because he's been on strike from Sonetti and he doesn't want to play for them. So yeah, I don't think he's been bad. But Adam Drury did a really interesting article about how he didn't use it. He said he was never going to start Aaron Kunda and Bar because they couldn't follow his tactical information, and he was very stunned at how much of a different job it was compared to 2019. But we're challenging for Europe, and of course it was going to be different. And I also think he didn't need the job. He wasn't in it like for the money or anything. And apparently he struggled with 12 hours at the training ground a day. So yeah, his head wasn't really in the right space. Got to unpack that.
Yeah, take a breath, Rio. Let us know in the chat, please, if you're watching this live, your thoughts on it all. I know you've had a lot of time to digest it. Now, here's some social media takes from what happened. Cameron says, "I'm very pleased to see the back of him. He's a terrible manager now, can only do things his way. Questions need to be asked though about what caused him to resign and why no thought is ever put into the manager hiring process. Good riddance, but please sort yourself out, Watford." Yeah, I mean, I know you don't really care about it, but you are back to being the laughing stock again, Luke, aren't you? Of the championship. I mean, I think somebody put a tweet. I don't know how true this is. I haven't fact checked it, but GTA 5 came out, and since GTA 5's come out, you've had 21 management points between GTA 5 and 6. That's mad.
You know that there could be more because we don't know when GTA 6 is even going to come out at this rate. But the thing is, it's just, again, we were talking about this last week. We were talking about the reactionary of fans within results, and I was really looking at our results under Javi. And until the last 4 league games, we were doing really well under him. If you look back at what we were saying at the start of Jan, we were singing his praises. We were saying we're doing great. We've had a bad run of games where we've been he's been outcoached. Fair enough. It's going to happen. He's not going to get everything correct. And I think from really when we dropped points to Portsmouth, I think that was when we started to get the sort of fans going at Javi, which doesn't help. And this is why I personally think that we're now starting to get just managers back to back, because for me it's now just it's just frustrating, because for me I just can't even be bothered to even like back the manager, because I know he's going to have 3 bad results, which it happens to everyone in football, and the fans give him stick, and then it's going to happen again. I really can't see us getting out of this cycle anytime soon, because there's no point us as what fans getting more hope when we've got a new manager of a project or a previous manager like Gracia that we all loved and cared about. It's just so frustrating to see this happen continuously as what fan. A lot of other people like neutrals just say, I don't know how you put up with it, and it's now just got to the point where it's just I read it, and I generally it didn't really sort of, I was like, all right, another one. Like it's not that sort of breaking news anymore. It's just like standard. It's just depressing, really, to be honest with
you. The alternative view to it, Aaron, was Guy says Pozzo failed again to support coach and give what's wanted in the transfer market. Play a trading model rather than team building by Pozzo, a continuing trend. Playoffs possible with a bit of support for the coach. It was not given. Do you agree?
I think I do, yeah. This team is full of obviously some really young, talented players. I mean, when you look at the combined ages of our starting 11s, it's ridiculous. I think we are quite comfortably the youngest team in the league. I might be, I don't think I'm wrong. I think that is true. And it's all well and good that a lot of these players will flip for a profit, whether it be next summer, whether it be in like a year's time, 2 years' time. But I think there's a real thing with the head coaches of, we're gonna bring in players this way and you need to make do with it. And I can't think of, correct me someone if there is one that you can think of, but I can't think of a club that does that. I think every successful team buys players to suit how they play and suit how their coach wants to play. The teams like Brentford at the minute, obviously, who are flying in the Premier League, some would say above their station, they recruit players to how they play, whilst also looking for those gems that are young and they can make profit of. And I'm not saying we can just suddenly turn it around and be Brentford, but I'm saying that's the kind of model you want to replicate. But we seem very stuck in, we are going to do this, we're going to sign players that will make us money. And I was listening to the Do Not Scratch Your Ice space on the way home and yesterday morning, and I can't remember who it was, but they made a good point in the sense of it isn't really going to change. No head coach is going to succeed at this football club while we do it this way. I think with the hiring of managers, we're all for sacking them, but yet we're not questioning, well, why are we having to sack managers constantly? Because they're not getting the appointment right. And until we start thinking a bit further forward and having these decisions made logically with, okay, we have this set of players, we want to play this way, let's bring in a manager that wants to use wingers, that wants to play with one target man up front, and rather than, oh, this guy's going to make them happy, this guy's going to keep them disciplined. And until we're making that logical decision, it won't change. But the ownership don't want to install some kind of football infrastructure. They tried that with Ben Manga, it didn't work. They got sick of him, they sacked him. So until something drastically changes upstairs, we're going to be doing the same thing every year, and we'll be having the same conversations next year.
Cheers for Aaron. Matt's been in touch. Cheers, Matt. Says, I was shocked Javi went, but clearly, Gino wasn't giving him what he wanted, but I give him the utmost respect for leaving because he was clearly struggling. Yeah, cheers for that, Matt. So then, Rio, we come then to the next manager. I'll go through the odds and just give me a yes or a no whether you'd entertain any of these. First of all, Will Still is at 2-1. Ex-Southampton manager.
It went
Ian?
terribly wrong. It went terribly wrong with them, but apparently they still had like great numbers, and obviously he did a good job over in France. You know, without his UEFA license, he went on he got fined 22 grand per game, something like that. But I wouldn't mind it. He's actually dating Emma Saunders, who used to work for Watford. But random fact. But yeah, I wouldn't mind that.
Okay, we've got Marty Fuentes, just been set by Leicester last weekend at 6-1. Jose Martin 12-1. Russell Martin 12-1. Diego Alonso 14-1, and Garcia Pimienta 14-1.
The annoying thing with Watford is, apart from Rob Edwards, when we got him after Luke's favourite manager, we never appoint someone who's in the job. For example, you got that Lincoln manager who I think they were in League Two not long ago. They're now second in League One. If we could get someone like him, perfect. But we'll never get anyone who's in a job. That's why maybe the appointments are always terrible. We're always looking for the cheapest option, whether it's Javi Gracia, who he just had surgery before. Apparently, we tried him before Pet Solano, but. Yeah, I think it stinks of we go in cycles. We either go for a previous manager such as Kike or Javi. We go for a young up-and-coming manager, whether that's Edwards, or we go for some journeyman from South America. But I think we're going to go with a Brexit England manager. I think it stinks of Tony Mowbray.
Okay, I think he's heading to Blackburn this evening, isn't he? From all rumours.
Thank God. Adam Newfield's just been sacked. You never know.
Josh says we spend so much on sacked manager compensation packages, we don't have enough money to buy out a manager for another job. Yeah,
it's a good point, because there was a stat a few years ago. I think it was when
20 million.
We got last year. I think that technically was our biggest sort of outgoings if you accumulate over the last 5 years. It's just ridiculous how much we spend on transfers, and for the Pozzos being a sort of being a bit money savvy, which they are on transfers. I give them that. We were just talking about, they're really good at getting young players in and flipping them for a really good profit. But the reason they need to do that is because we're spending so much money on sacking managers all the time. I mean, if you want a good payout on your manager, you know where to come, because you're going to get 3 months worth of work. You're going to get 2 years worth of payout. Those managers that we just went through in that list, we know how we sort of work. Those probably favourites, even down to like 20-1. It'd be none of them. It'd be some random person that will pop up in, let's say, mid of next week. We've never heard of him, and then same thing again. I think I saw Nathan Jones on there. I think on the first bit at like 15-1. I mean, if Nathan Jones, like, he was obviously not going to, but if he did, I genuinely won't go to Watford anymore. But it's ridiculous. I don't know who's going to put a bet on that unless the Luton fans want to wind up.
Any other names that you're hearing that you'd be interested in, Aaron, at all?
No, I think it's a really weird market for head coaches, and I'm almost of the opinion of, like, looking at the list, and unless you're magically pulling out the stops for someone insane, or you're going to go and buy out a manager, I don't really see if there's any point appointing someone that's available right now. I mean, that list there, like, you know, you've got people that have had a little bit of success in the Championship, but not sustained success or like a decent promotion. I mean, I'm not sure I could stand watching a Russell Martin Watford. I feel like, I mean, if the way Watford fans are, they'd get sick of him within 5 games.
You got to pass forward,
yeah. And there's no way our defence can play that kind of football. I mean, I've seen Pimienta, who's on the odds, was heavily linked before Pet Solano came in, to the point where people thought it was done. So I'm not surprised to see that name there again. Of that list, I don't really see who's even worth the gamble. And at that point, you're thinking, well, what, are you going to just let Charlie Daniels and Maps and Dan Gosling have it to the end of the season to see what we can do then? It's such a shame that we're sat here. And albeit, yes, we haven't sacked a manager this time, but it's just such a shame that we're sat here having this conversation about, is our season worth carrying on with yet again for the 3rd year in a row? And we started this season pretty dismal. Then the transfer window happened, and we thought, do you know what? It's looking all right. Then Pesolano comes in, we're back down again. Then Javi comes in, we're back up again. I mean, it is literally a roller coaster. And but yet this roller coaster just seems to end up like I guess like all roller coasters do, back at the same point, and then we go around it again.
Good analogy.
We'll watch this space then. Join us next week, and we'll have the latest developments on that. Let's talk transfer window, shall we? Some outgoings. Rio, the biggest one, of course. Is Sissoko has signed for Greek side Panathinaikos. Joe says, I'm going to miss that stride running. Paul says rumours are that they needed a cement statue in the ground. Yeah, I mean, who's going to be the fall boy now? The scapegoat when things go wrong now. That's the only concern with this. But yeah, favourite Sissoko memory?
He scored a good header. He actually, last season, I think he was actually a scapegoat. I don't think he was that bad. I remember at the back end of Cleverley, he scored some goals, whether that's Sheffield Wednesday at home, West Brom away, I think Hull at home he scored. But he did score some big goals to win us games. I think in his first few weeks back, Derby at home scored the winner. Middlesbrough away, one of my favourite away days, scored there. But this season, he's been so obviously out of his depth. And actually, one thing to thank Javi for is he's kind of slowly eased him out. At the start, oh my God, Sheffield United away and Coventry away, he was horrendous. We lost both games. And then since then, he's been maybe given some charity minutes, 10 minutes here and there. But that's why we lost 3 in 17, because Sissoko wasn't getting many minutes. But yeah, I mean, PAOK fans, I think one of them asked me, how is he? I said, I've got more athleticism with one leg, and then they all started quote tweeting it, and there was an emergency space going on their Twitter, which was funny. Couldn't understand a word, but I don't think they're happy. But yeah, I wish him all the best. Block me on Snapchat and Snapchat and Instagram, but it's all right. Hopefully he does well.
Okay, you're not bitter though.
No,
one more outgoing, blink and you miss it. Luke, was James Morris has joined Leighton Orient on a permanent deal as well. Jake says, yeah, at long last, the most useless and this player ever. Bit harsh that.
Probably, yeah. I'd say it's a bit harsh. I mean, he just never was at sort of the level for us. To be fair to him, I think he should have been playing in League One, even in League Two, a little bit sooner. And it probably was he's probably just wasted a couple of years of his career, to be honest with you. He's been okay when he's been playing for us. There was a few times he played left centre half, and he was nowhere near the level for that. So I just think it's more of it's just finding the right level for him. I mean, I've got nothing against him. Just right player at the wrong level. So I wish him all the best.
And we're recording this just now. The window has just shut at 7 p.m. We're hearing anything else that's happened? Anyone?
The Georgian centre back's just signed. I've just seen it pop up.
Is that the centre off?
Yeah, the potion guy. There was no need to announce that at 7 p.m. They waited as long as possible to make it look like we've had a busy deadline day. They really, when Elaine got recalled on the 5th of January, they could have got him right there and then, but yeah, it was clear he was like 5th or 6th in the pecking order, but at least he can cover right back and centre now.
Yeah. Well, like I said earlier, I think I've said this plenty of times within the other transfers. I don't count a Udinese signing. That is just balancing the books. That's just saying, like me saying in Sunday League, do you want to play for my team? It's the exact same as that. It's not a signing. It's just something they've tried to do to keep us quiet. So let's still not try sort of let them get away with it for that decision.
Okay. No signings then. There we go. No signings today.
Right.
Okay. Brilliant.
No money spent.
Let's go for January Player of the Month next, shall we? Rio, I'll let you take this one, please. Who gets your January Player of the Month?
Literally no one. Wait, can I throw it over to you? I genuinely who's been half good? Anyone?
Yeah, the only good performance in January was New Year's Day. So,
God.
So what are we going to give it to Tom Ince because he scored a hat trick?
Yeah.
There generally isn't anyone. Who can we give it to? Dumbies? No, he's been away for half of it.
I think Aaron's got it. I think Tom Ince, yeah.
You may honestly have to give it to Tom Ince, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay, right, there we go. Tom Ince gets the January Player of the Month. My goodness. Last week on here, we were talking about the best ever Watford managers. Thank you for your comments on that one. We've got a nice little community here, so thank you for all the support that we get. Just to give a shout, Justin Walker was saying, Aaron, you were spot on. last week, Mark Schofield. He's having a go at you, Rio, here, saying, I've told you before, Rio, we're not losing a lot of star players. When was the last time more than two left? Loser will go, but who's going to want to buy Czech or Bar? They've been so poor. Alan Hearn said, thank you. Must be for Gavin Mann. And Ryan says, can't believe we signed both and need to play next to Luvo. So thank you so much for everyone who's joined this little community. We're on to worst manager, though. Please, we did best manager last week. Okay, should we just go on? Just say it. One of you say it, and then we can move on. Yeah.
Okay, it's Roy Hodgson.
Yeah.
You can watch all the other episodes to find out why.
Okay. No one worse than Roy Hodgson.
Is there a second worst, Luke?
It will never be topped.
I don't think it'll ever be topped.
Basically, the prime moment is he relegated us at his former club Palace. He did a round of applause, but didn't come over to the Watford fans. Yeah, that just sums it up. Personally, I think the most disconnected I've been really with a Watford manager, to be honest, is Pezzolano. That might just be because of the language barrier, but it was hard to going from a manager like Cleverley, who you could connect so much with, and then Pezzolano, who he couldn't even do press conferences. And when, for example, when Ryan Andrews left in the change room, he was like, Andrew, come and speak.
Yeah. No, I feel like I've got to chuck one in. So I'll lob in a third one, to be the one excluding Roy Hodgson, and I'd probably give it to Ivic. I think that spell at the start of that season was just horrific, falling out with all our best players. I mean, the whole Huddersfield saga again, where Deeney gets dropped and goes on the radio and slags him off.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't happen anywhere else. It just shows you some of the absolute basket case moments we've had. But yeah, Ivic apparently just upset everyone. And yeah, I think I don't know where he's gone on to since, but that was a pretty horrific point. The fact we ended up going up still because of Happy Vibes Cisco Munoz is incredible.
Finally this week then we're on to the A to Z of Watford. If you've just maybe a new channel, then of course we're finding one player for each letter of the alphabet that deserves to be in the encyclopedia of Watford. It's a tough one this week, or it might not be, I'm not sure. We're on to letter N for November. Anyone got anything?
Oh, I do actually. It was I've got Alan Neil. My dad and I always have a joke. It was my first few seasons supporting Watford. I supported from 2012, but first probably went going 2015, 2014, 15, 16. Alan Neil. And we always used to say how clumsy he was. And I think last season, it's not inappropriate, but there was a mad story which came out from him about Victor Ibarbo. Do you guys remember?
Yeah, I've seen it.
The less said about that, the better.
Have we got anything?
There's not many. I can give you a double N though, which I think's even if it's not very noteworthy, it's kind of cool. Nyron Nosworthy, the centre back. I mean, you can't really. He was just one of those classic milled around in the EFL centre backs, but he was massive. I just remember watching when I was younger and him just being huge. So yeah, Nyron Nosworthy.
Right. Okay. That is the best we've got for N. Wow. Right. Help us out in the comments here, then, folks.
I've got one. Last one. Nicholas Nkulu. He played about 3 games for us.
Need your help because we're on to O next week. Now they're going to allow to put in any overhead kicks that have been scored by a Watford player. So if you can think of a bicycle kick that sticks in your memory, we'll let that player go. It doesn't have to begin with O. It can be any player that scored an overhead kick. Watford, give us the venue, give us when it was, and we'll read some of these out next week. Get writing in the comments there. You three, the merry-go-round of Watford. I tell you what, it's not a dull being a Watford fan, is it? I mean, you can't argue that. I mean, we're talking to Blackburn and Preston the other day, saying it's just quite mediocre, really. And Bristol City doesn't get much excitement. It's not dull.
Don't laugh, you'll cry.
Right, we'll see you next week then for another 20 minutes of chat and scratching our heads of what's going on. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for your support. Drop us a sub and a like if you haven't yet done so already. Podcast you find on the internet. Catch you next week.
think you're